Petri dish, the Petri dish, the Petri dish.
This is
The Petri dish, the Petri dish, the Petri dish. This is the Petri dish. There's something growing in here, and it's personal growth. That's what it is. That's what's growing in here. I have had a week. Guys, and I've already put too much personal shit out into the world. My peas are popping hard. I put too much personal shit out into the world already this week, and I had a whole podcast recorded with Nick and Austin, but after reviewing it, I didn't go into, I was in a spot where I was good, but I feel like the stuff that I said within that would still cheapen the personal things that I've been going through with other people in my life system. So I figured I would just start fresh, say fuck that episode, and just kind of update you on my usual week like a fucking normal entertainer would, with some fucking comedy involved. The past, 6 or 7 weeks, not so funny. Sorry, guys. I forgot that I could be funny. And I just didn't feel funny. You know why? Because I, as you have heard through all the other podcasts, have so much internalized self-doubt and insecurities that I've been working on, and I have been working on them so much so that I know that people care about me enough to tell me to fucking quit it. Yeah, they're telling me, like, hey, quit being so fucking sad and just be, funny again. I get it. Cool. Thank you. I will do that because, it's only interesting for me to go back and listen to myself talk about me, and that's so fucking narcissistic. It's another thing that I've been trying to control, because this is turning into a mental health thing again, but I swear it'll be a positive reflection sort of thing. Because it's the thing that I've been doing the most is, Nick got me into meditating more. Another friend of mine got me into yoga. She showed me this yoga with Adrian YouTube thing, and she was telling me that was intensely transformational in her personal growth. And I was like, yeah, fuck it. I'll get spiritual as shit. So that's what I'm doing, guys. I'm trying to center myself and connect myself to others in healthy ways, because I realized too late in many situations in my life, now that I look back, oh boy, I think it all stems from watching my ex-girlfriend in high school put me below her ex-boyfriend on her MySpace top 8. I think that's where the unhealthy social media obsession started. That's when you realize, oh, I can glean information from this about others' personal views of me. And so, it's one of those things where, if you were in real life, would you rather be in a room alone by yourself and then just have to, deal with that for 8 hours? Or would you rather be in a room with a very thin divider next to a room full of people that are talking about you, and you get to listen in? It's unhealthy. It's selfish. It's kind of breaking a personal boundary that you can kind of hear all their conversations that they don't know are being heard. But that's what social media is. Social media is the poison of that curiosity that we all have. We all have that curiosity. We all want to go stalking people that we, feel like looking up personal information about. We've all done it. If you find out somebody at work is into some crazy thing, that's how some people know I do stand-up. And that's bad because I work for the government and talk about my dick a lot. Not a lot. That's a lie. I had a whole 10 minutes on cum. Oh God, did I tell everyone about that? I did such a killer fucking set back on, what was that? The Dead Panda show. Yeah, with Samson Colette Carr. So I did the Dead Panda show back in April, and it was so fucking killer, and I don't have the video from it. They lost the footage, and so my killer 10 minutes about cum is lost to the ether. And so I either have to rewrite a bunch of stuff, or I have to relearn all my stupid fucking jokes about cum, which is even stupider than writing them, is to try to relearn them and practice it. You guys ever do that? You guys ever stand up in front of an audience with a pre-written fucking 10 minutes about jizz, how much people think you jizz, how things in your bed look like jizz but aren't? Like, it's just fucking gross. It's gross, and that's my goddamn life. My whole life is gross. But again, yeah, social media is poison. Let's get back to that. And I knew this. It's one of those things. It's one of those things that I live a life full of dumb, hollow platitudes until I realize they actually do mean something, and I should have paid attention to them. And one of those is, don't put things onto social media you don't want out there forever. And guess what? Literally everything I do is temporary. Like all my comedy and dumb bullshit I put on the internet, it's all temporary and it's useless. It's useless to me except for momentary personal validation. And I guess I value this podcast slightly more than I value the validation I get from those, Facebook posts or Twitter posts or Instagram posts, because this is a true snapshot of me in a moment in my life, and it's almost a diary for that. Like I spent today going back. I listened to the first episode me and Austin did in the house, because it's been a year. It was the first episode we did in this house. I think that one was The Struggle, where Austin talked about how he wanted to eat raw flour and shit in a bag. And we all have our goals. One of my goals that I apparently forgot this year was to be less of an asshole, to not be so negative. And what have I done so far this year? Let my emotions control literally every aspect of my life. And that all stemmed from January, when Austin, Sam and I were coming back from Savage Henry for my first headlining set. I was all jazzed. We almost fucking died. Or at least, I don't think they know we almost died. But I was very unsure of myself driving in the icy conditions up through Lassen National Park during a terrible snowstorm. We could have ended up in a ditch, suffocated to death, froze to death, starved to death, whatever. And I was so ready to be like, well, that was 26 years gone. I was so ready to be like, I fucked this up. Sam's got a kid. Man, this is going to be awful. But we made it home. But I faced that. I faced that feeling responsible for other people's deaths. I faced that very visceral feeling of things ending for me forever, knowing I still have so much left to grow about, still so much left to know in the world, still so much left to learn. And I didn't take it as well as I should have. I should have learned more from that experience. But guess what I did instead? I put a bunch of dumb bullshit about it out to social media, and I felt that temporary validation, and I didn't grow from it. I didn't grow from it, and I should have. And I don't know that it was that monumental to Austin and Sam at the time. It was a great bonding experience for all of us. And what's his fucking name? Ray from the Shell gas station up in Shingletown. He's fucking saved our lives. But aside from it being a great bonding experience, it should have meant more to me. It does now. It does now, looking back, now that I can see it. It means so much more than it meant in the moment. And that seems to be kind of a theme for me, is not living in the moment and letting my emotional distance so that I don't have to feel the emotion of the time, or my emotional closeness, which makes me cloudy in the head. It makes me forget the things that I should be saying or thinking, So there was that leading up to it. And then my cathartic journey to Laos this year was supposed to be the other big turning point. And that one I took a little more to heart. Because it was a whole week. Sorry, just burping things. I ate a food truck today. Shout out to Still Rollin' Food Truck, serving white people egg rolls full of like macaroni and cheese and shit. But the other big journey, the other big personal growth journey that I should have taken to be less of an asshole was going to Laos. And that did teach me where I come from, like the poise of my family overseas. They seem like fucking royalty, like they have such a simplicity but power about them. So I think that's where I get some of my presence, is from that side of my family, being able to just stand in a place and accept their standing in the world and know that their fucking legacy is secure. Like they have that very political feel about them. Even the ones that aren't politicians, only one of them's a politician, but the rest of them have that knowing of themselves that really makes them seem strong. And that's the thing that I know I don't have. And that's why it makes me a weird manic comedian, is knowing that I don't have that centered self. And that's what's getting me right now. I'm speaking so fast. Trying to justify myself to an audience of, I love all of you audience members. You listen frequently, and I probably know you personally. And if I don't know you personally, it's dope that you tune into this. Thanks. But, this is basically just like my public diary at some points. So I think that anyone who listens to this really knows me sometimes more than I realize I should know myself. And so I went to Laos, and I went on that journey to try to see that other half. I know so much of my dad's side of the family. I don't know anything about my mom's side of the family. So I wanted that journey for myself to say, hey, what's the other half of this puzzle piece? Where does all this, what's in my blood? That's what I wanted to get to the bottom of. What is in my blood? What's in my blood? Drinking too much and partying, because boy, do they get down. When I got back from Laos, I realized I needed to slow down on the drinking. And there's been a few slip-ups for me with that since March on the drinking front, that, I drink, and then that other half of me that's full of self-doubt and insecurities takes over, and I start thinking the worst, not only of myself. Well, it is mostly of myself. I start devaluing myself in a state of depression, because alcohol is a depressant. It's a suppressant. It's, all those things. And so when I get into that down place, I devalue myself to the point where I start devaluing those around me because they associated themselves with me, and that's dangerous. So I am working to fix my perception of myself as well as my drinking. Like, I'm just not fucking drinking right now. Because I need to work on who the man in the mirror is. If I could take a Michael Jackson quote. Oh, that was a bad move. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. Anyway, that was fucking dumb. So yeah, I'm trying to work on the man in the mirror. And I don't know what else to say about that. I saw that other half in Laos. Jovial, barely any teeth, a lot of them, trying to figure out where their long forgotten youth has gone and the years, watching all their children get married off or choose their lives. And you know what? They all seem to know their place in life. And I wish that comfort for myself. But first, you got to know yourself first, Is that a thing? I feel like it is. Anyway, I'm getting texts right now. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. But hey, texts are at least a personal form of communication rather than just shotgun blasting bullshit out to social media. So hey, improvement. Let's see. So yeah, it was a journey. I came back from Laos though, and that's when this is what happened in Laos. This is what I wanted to talk about because I talked about it with Austin and Nick. And I never talked about it since. And I've said it. I said it on that other podcast that I'm not putting out there. But I have never made it a secret that I am not relationship prone. I don't put myself out there because of that internalized self-doubt, because of that frequent feeling when I get in an emotional state that maybe I'm not worth anything. And I definitely get that from my dad. Thanks, Dad. So it's a little bit of column A and column B. I have I have that alcoholic side from both my mom and my dad's side, and then I have that internalized self-doubt, which really, it kind of just stems from both my parents. You know, with my mom's issues and my dad's issues, they both gave me so much of their good sides. Like I can't shit on my blood too much. I'm a pretty dope person, but they have given me some great things to work through. They have given me some hurdles to strengthen me. I will put it that way. And so one of those things is never feeling like I'm attractive, never feeling like I would be a good mate for another person, you know? And I went to Laos and I, saw the grandiose wedding that they were putting on for one of my uncle's I think it was his last daughter to get married. So I saw this big grandiose display of love, and it was wonderful. And I was in that state where I was like, I want that for myself. I really want to feel loved for once. And I had a few interactions with people in Laos, just going around. I could tell I guess he's technically a cousin. Yeah, he took me out to this little coffee shop that was owned by this girl. She was probably early 20s, like younger than me, but not like a fucking child. But she was just like this young girl, and he told me like she owns this little coffee stand, which in a communist country to own your own business is pretty dope. And she made all the coffee drinks there herself in a little cart. She had that little corner picked out for herself. And she made me an iced coffee. It was super fucking delicious. And the entire time I was drinking it, she just played with my hand because she was just so impressed about how large I was, because I was the same height as her entire coffee cart. And so, like, she just played with my hand, she, like, put it up to hers. She just played with my fingers, which just, God, it's those little touches, the little caresses that really get you. In affection. You guys know what I mean by affection? Like a hug is amazing. A hug can, release the oxytocin and all those things. But to just be admired for a simple thing as your fingers is just so, it's so innocent and it's so nice. And that really set me on a path. She just played with my hands, and then she made me another coffee because she saw I drank the other one so quick. So it was, I just got to have my hand played with while I drank a bunch of coffee. And like altogether, in Laos, shit's real cheap. So I drank 2 giant iced coffees for like $3. And also got myself a hand job. Ayo, jokes. But that was, so she just played with my fingers and fed me coffee. Is there anything more in life anybody wants? Like, I know there's a bunch of those stupid platitude t-shirts that annoying women on Facebook put, like, just touch my butt and feed me tacos. Fuck you. Play with my fingers and feed me coffee. It's just, that's going to be the title of the episode, guys. Play with my fingers and feed me coffee. That's all I want out of the world. I just want someone to just gas me up, to just let me know that they like the cut of my jib. So that set me on a path. I went, oh, this is what an admirer feels like. Maybe I'm worth something. That first little pang inside my head, hey, maybe people could see me as something more than this weird amorphous monster that just cries and laughs his way through life, That does more than just giant public displays of weirdness, and he can maybe settle for something. He can maybe settle down, temper his emotions for a second, to just have the simple little things. And that's what I'm bad at. I'm bad at the small nuances. I'm great at the giant displays. The big I'm sorries, the big I love yous, the big birthday gifts, the giant Christmases. I'm great at the family gatherings. I'm great at meeting people. I'm bad at the upkeep. I'm bad at the maintenance. Checking in with people, saying, hey, we still cool? Hey, you doing okay? Hey, let's hang out. I'm bad at that. I can be like, hey, come to my band's show, and then while I'm there, I'll be like, this song is for you, but it's like, what the fuck does that mean at the end of the day? It's the little things, it's the follow through. And so that's, that comes from knowing yourself. That comes from knowing who you are and what you want so that you can show other people what they're worth to you. So yeah, that's what louse did for me. Aside from that, louse also possibly gave me a terrible bacteria. It could have been that or the Chuck E. Cheese I went to when I got back. But when I got back from louse, I had Campylobacter bacteria. And so I spent straight up like a week, like 7 or 8 days just shitting my brains out. Like at first I thought my appendix was going to burst because it just felt like a sharp knife all the time. And I was just cold sweats and shitting and a fever and shivering and sleeping all day. And at one point, the only thing that made me feel good was just like laying in the bathtub. And then at one point I shit in the bathtub, but the jets were on because I have a jet tub. So I was just, oh God, it was a terrible time. I say this stuff to you for no other reason than your amusement, because it was such a weak point for me. That I was just in a roiling soup of my own shit. And I might go watch Toy Story soon with Taro and Austin. So, hold on, guys. I'll be right back. I got to text some people. This has been a great discussion so far, but I've got some personal matters to attend to. Anyway, I'm back. That was real quick. Just had to text Austin that I didn't really want to watch Toy Story in like 20 minutes. I mean, I do really want to watch Toy Story, but also like I gotta take a relaxation day for myself. I've been just been real cagey, you know, just been real in my own self. And this is the first day I feel like I could take a breath in a while, because I had a lot of self-doubt and what else am I gonna call it? It was self-doubt, uncertainty, and then anxiety about that uncertainty. And I was unpacking that with my therapist the other day, and she said, "What makes you feel these emotions?" She was just like, "These aren't coming from nowhere. You have to look at yourself. You have to look at yourself and see that you're not feeling these things out of the blue. You have to learn how to call yourself out sometimes, you know?" And so that was one of the cognitive behavioral therapy things. She asked if I have difficulty facing internal problems that may cause issues like anxiety and depression. For example, intrusive thoughts. Anticipation is the big one. Anticipating things before they happen. I anticipate all the time. I anticipate too much, which makes me, makes me anxious, because I'm looking at different scenarios that have never existed, that don't exist. And because I'm anticipating and feeling those things, I get anxious and I get that pit in my stomach. But I just need to learn to put that stuff down. And that's what meditation is helping. Cognitive behavioral therapy, imagining that stop sign, imagining some positive things. And then, you know, poor eating habits. That was another one. And I've been working on that. Honestly, my appetite has been swaying back and forth wildly. So it's been real good for me to lose weight, because I've never had my appetite go away before. But it's kind of nice that it did for a second. So now I can kind of feel where normal was. That was a weird thing to put out there, but it was good. It was good to find out that, you know, people have names for the things I go through. So not only am I not alone, there's systems in place for it. And I just need to learn the tools to deal with those things. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm learning and growing and stuff. Just handling those issues. Oh, hey, Austin. Just, you know, redoing the podcast since it was too much.
Yeah, it might have been.
It was too much, but it was good. You gonna go watch Toy Story? I'm going to stay and play that video game I just bought.
Nice.
Bought Horizon Zero Dawn, and I have yet to really play it much because I have not been putting much value into me time as I should, because I forgot that I matter for a second. Not really. That's extreme.
I'm seeing Toy Story with Nick, so just rub it in Jay's face.
Oh, yeah. Jay.
I got a hot date with Nick Taro.
Yeah, Jay, you're not attractive enough to date Nick Taro, but Austin is. It's probably just because you're old. So you'll never get Nick Taro like Austin can get Nick Taro. He's a beautiful, beautiful man. Let's see. What am I talking about? Oh, yeah. So that's self-doubt. Self-doubt and all those things. Internalizing bad thoughts, stop signs, cognitive behavioral therapy. There we go. I worked back to it. So, yeah, I've been working on having the tools for these things because it's one thing to acknowledge, yes, I'm having self-doubt right now. Yes, I'm having fights in my head with people that are never going to happen, but I want to have them so that I can, I don't know, feel like I'm with them. I don't fucking know. I don't know what the point is, but the point is to tell yourself, this isn't healthy. Stop. This isn't healthy. Full stop. Drop it. Focus on your breathing. In, out. Unshrug your shoulders. Unclench that jaw. What the fuck are you mad about right now? Look at yourself. You know? What are you mad about? Oh, you got a text? What did the text say? Did the text just say, okay, why the fuck are you mad about that? I guess unless you sent like a huge, important text thing, you can't be mad that someone just replied in affirmative. You can't keep inferring dumb shit. It makes me realize that, like, all the shit that people say about women in relationships, that's me. I'm that person. I'm the overly emotional one who runs wild with a bunch of stuff. But that's, you know, such is life. So you got to take people at their word. If someone says they appreciate you, they appreciate you. They're not saying anything backhanded. It's a compliment. Fucking take it. So that's what I got to tell myself, because I am bad at accepting positive validation when I'm in one of those spirals. So I have to be able to tell myself, full stop, what are some positive things about you as a person, self? And I got to be like, well, I'm a very positive person to everyone but myself. And I need to work on that, but I am. Let's see, what else? I've got a good job. I'm educated. I take care of old dogs. I raise chickens. What are some other good things about me? I recently signed up for the Boys and Girls Club, so hopefully I can help a child in the world. What's some other cool, good stuff about me? I like to make bread from scratch, and I just give it to friends and family because it's just a fun act for me to create something, and I want to share that with people. What's some other good stuff about myself? I bought a house when I was 26, and now I just got my friends living in that house because it's cool to have friends, and it's cool to own stuff. I own 2 vehicles. That's pretty cool. I'm not saying that personal effects, you know, like just objects that you own will provide you happiness, but I'm saying it's positive that I am able to own things outright as a young millennial that others think wouldn't be able to have these kind of things. Like a lot of my friends don't. A lot of my friends don't have a full-time job. A lot of my friends don't have their own house. They got to pay rent still. A lot of them don't have pets that are as old and decrepit as mine, but I wanted an old dog because I wanted to take care of something that already learned a lot of life. I wanted to take care of something that's already been there and just wants to hang out. So those are some good things about me. I'm pretty good at doing the dishes. I like to keep up with it. I'm not the cleanliest person, sure, but I like to keep things organized. My room's pretty clean now. I vacuum it a lot because there's a lot of dog hair and sawdust from the chicken coop that I keep tracking in. I got to take my shoes off. I got to mop more. But I've been mopping a lot. I can clean pretty well. I can organize pretty well. I'm not the most clean and organized, but I got a bachelor pad with 2 other dudes in it. So, like, I'm not their mom. I'm not going to clean up all their shit, but I'm pretty good with that. I can work on my own vehicle, you know. I don't, because I don't have a driveway. It's kind of dangerous. Have your legs dangling out into the world. What are some other cool personal validations? No, that's it. I'm done talking positive about myself. But it's just, that's one of those exercises. If you're having a bad time, if you know that you're in your own head saying like, oh, I fucking hate myself. Look, I'm such a piece of shit. Stop for a second. Try to think of some positive qualities. Even if they don't seem positive. You know, like not everything I said just then was positive. Kept me busy. Kept me going. I feel good about myself now. I feel a little narcissistic, but that's one of those things that I got to work through. Is I got that twinge of selfishness, which is why I'm always out to try to help others as much as I can. Which is, that's part of those things where that used to come from a negative place. I used to do a lot of charity and stuff because I was like, well, I'm such a piece of shit. I should do some good in the world. No, don't think that. Just, to me, I think, hey, it feels good to know that I'm putting positivity out into the world, because there's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of awful things we see on the news or hear from other people a lot of the time. But if you look down the street, shit's not all on fire. Unless you live in certain parts of northern Nevada, then some of it is on fire, literally, and you got to get away from it. But just don't be on fire, and then it's not bad. That's my advice I give to you guys today. My advice is, don't be on fire. If there's one piece of advice I could give you guys, please don't be on fire. That's a positivity I'm spreading out into the world. I'm a fucking mess. Don't be on fire. I would be a terrible philosopher. Oh boy. But yeah, it's being able to think positively about yourself can take some time. There was some points in my negativity, like the first time that I called up my therapist and she was like, let's try this exercise. And I was feeling kind of shitty that week. And so she made me go through it and she's like, what are some positive things that you can say about yourself? And I couldn't say anything. I couldn't think of anything because I was reaching for those top shelf things. I was like, what are some good things about me? I'm not fucking Bill Gates giving millions of dollars. I'm not doing anything, extraordinary for anyone. No, fuck that kind of thinking. I do things for people, I like to give unconditionally. I like to show my affection unconditionally to the people around me because I don't like transactional relationships, Like if someone tells me like, oh, no, I don't have the money for lunch right now. I'll be like, fuck it, I'll pick up lunch. I just want to hang out with you. So let's fucking go hang out, And I'm not going to be like, okay, well now you owe me next time we go out. No, it's just fucking like, I want to do that for people. I don't like to transact like that. I just want to do dope shit for the friends around me. So, and that's another positive thing about myself. I'm just trying. I'm trying. That's all I can say is I'm trying. I started off the beginning of the year. You can go back to like the January 1st podcast. I was like, New Year's resolution. I want to be a positive person, because I ended last year with the roast of no, it wasn't the roast of Jim Fleming. Jim Fleming and I had a roast battle, and that was a great way to send off 2018, because 2018 sure did feel like it was full of a lot of negativity. 2018 was a real bad year for me, aside from being able to buy the house, but it was a rough fucking time. I was real lost that year. And I really just kind of crutched down heavily on comedy and self-deprecation, and a lot of my jokes from last year, I like them for what they were, but I look back at them now, I'm like, I don't want to say this shit about myself on stage. I don't want to go back out there, put myself back in that negative spot, but I think it would be healthy now. Now I can go back and I can laugh about the things I used to think about myself. And that's one of the things I need to learn is, it's fine to have those thoughts. It's fine to feel down on yourself every once in a while, but you have to be able to pull yourself out of it. I'm speaking so fast. Here's another. I'm speaking so fast because I keep listening to podcasts on 1.5 times speed. So now I just think that that's the regular speech pattern. Now I'm like, yeah, every comedian and every speaker talks this fast. It also doesn't help that I've been ingesting far too much coffee. I've really tried to cut back because it revs up the anxiety to have that much caffeine in your system. To really rely that heavily on any substance is bad. But coffee, I was kind of using it as like a Ritalin. I was kind of using it as Ritalin for myself, which is not good. But really, I kind of need it because I've been pretty useless at work since I've tried to cut back. I got some big projects I got to take a hold of. Big projects. So maybe I should drink more coffee, get some projects done, get a promotion, drink less coffee, because maybe I can show up a little later in the day. I've been going to work way too early. I've been waking up with the sun, though. You know how nice that is to wake up with the sun? I've been setting my alarm at like the latest possible time, like because I don't have to be at work till 8:30, and it takes me like 7 minutes to get there. So I'll set my alarm for 8 o'clock, like just enough for a quick shower, like enough to not look and smell like a piece of shit, but not enough to have a good morning. So I'll set my alarm for 8 o'clock, but I'll just resolve to wake up that early. And I've been waking up like 5:30, 6 a.m., getting up, feeding the chickens, making myself a lunch, putting things together. And just, petting Nikki, feeding her a little bit, giving her little treats, because my sister told me the other day, and I had to internalize it. She bought me a bunch of beef jerky treats for Nikki for Christmas, and I still have a giant-ass club-sized box of milk bones. And she was like, Nikki's not going to be around long enough to eat all these. You really got to give them to her. I was like, oh, yeah. It's not like when I had a young dog, and we had to be like, okay, we can only give him like one milk bone a week. I'm like, no, I'm going to give Nikki a milk bone like whenever I just look at her and go, she looks like she wants something. So I just been giving her like 2 milk bones a day and a beef jerky. Just trying to give this dog the best life I can. She's fucking 13 and on her way out, and that's why I got her. My initial dumb joke thought was like, I want to run a dog hospice. Like, I want the dogs nobody else wants, and nobody wanted this dog, so I took her in. She's dope as fuck, but now I have to face the reality that dog is gonna die eventually. And it's going to be my fault, like whatever it is, because I'm not taking her to like constant checkups at the vet or something. I got this dog so I could have a dog, but I'm also allergic as fuck to dogs. I just wanted her to have a good life. So that's another positive thing about me. There we go. I'm just talking about positivity, keeping that. So that was one of the there we go, fucking up my own microphone. But that's one of those cognitive behavioral therapy things. When you're thinking negative thoughts, give yourself a fucking second, tell yourself stop. And then just continue and just either drop those thoughts or switch them to positive thoughts. Tell yourself some positive things about yourself, because they're there. You have positive things about yourself. Every single one of you. We all have some positivity within us. And so, in conclusion, one of the other things I was talking about with my therapist is the amount of moving around I did as a kid. It made me very good at picking up relationships quickly with anyone around me. I was able to ingratiate myself to pretty much anybody. I'm a pretty positive person because of it. Not in any certain terms that I've been talking about recently, but when people meet me, they are happy about it. I make an impression on people. People like me. And it's nice. It's nice to be liked. It's nice to be liked, but it's better to be loved, And so I've always had that problem with connecting to the people around me out of love rather than just like. And so moving around so much as a kid, I had huge groups of friends everywhere, like it was the 7 or 8 neighborhood kids you ran around with of all different grades, and you have your whole classroom thing, and you have friends from that, and everyone was so dope with me because I've always been a giant ham of a person. Like, I'm just a fucking sap, and I think I get that because my dad's half tree. Hey, that's a tweet that I put out. Guys, follow me on Twitter so I can tweet roll that beautiful bean footage at you. But, so I had that survival instinct to become part of the pack. I've never been a leader. I think I could be. I could be a great leader if I figured out who the fuck this is on the inside. But I've always just tried to join the pack, because it's so difficult. It's so difficult to join chapters of people's lives that you weren't there for and try to seem like what the story is. And that's not a thing that people think about as much as I do. Because a lot of people, you have a friend group, and sure, some friends fall off, some friends join in, but when you move through as many friend groups as I have, so many of them attach themselves to me. They give so much of themselves to me, and I just kind of feel like I'm the codex of the life experience that I've experienced. I don't feel like I'm giving anything of myself to them, which is shitty. I've known a lot of people very closely. And I don't know that I offered myself to them as much as they did to me. And I feel bad about that. Like all my best friends in high school, I say all my best friends. That's such a fucking crazy sentence, because I knew, I had 3 or 4 really close friends, and then, like another 4 or 5 pretty close knit within those within those groups. And, I knew a lot about those people. I knew their families. I knew their life situations. And I would always just kind of up and leave. You go about your life. And I did that a few times, like when I was in college, I had my fraternity friend group. I had my dudes in my band, and I had other great friends that I would go out with. Like I had a crew that I went to an open mic with. And I just up and left, like I feel like I never valued those relationships enough that it made me stay, because I didn't know myself enough. And I was on this constant journey of self-discovery that didn't include any of these people that had made themselves such fixtures in my life. And now I've been going back to those because they have stayed with me. And that's another one of those things that social media does, is it reconnected me with those people. But my unhealthy obsession with social media kind of reopened because I felt reconnected to those important people in my life. But those important people in my life exist outside of it too. They exist outside of social media. And so I can still go back to those people in the places they're at and be accepted, but I don't know if I feel that all the time. And that's another one of those things that I've been working towards, is keeping that line of communication open with people that I otherwise let kind of decay before. So yeah, I moved around a lot as a kid, and I wasn't able to form the bonds that a lot of people can form in life. Like, why start a relationship if you're going to move in a year? Why try? It was always my mantra, is just like, hey, why? You're just going to be gone in a little bit. Well, because, even a few months can feel like a lot to somebody. And so it's not about the time. It's about the vulnerability. That's all I can say is it's never been about the amount of time you spend with somebody. There are people that I've known that have gotten married after knowing the person they're with for a year. There are people that I know that have been with the person they've been with for 4 to 10 years. There's a few different people I know. They've been with that person for 4 to 10 years and still aren't married, And so there's people I've known that no one knew were in relationships that were then immediately Facebook official, and a month later they were married. It's all sorts of crazy things, because it's not about the time, it's about the connection. And that's what I need to work on, is my personal connection to the others around me, and making sure I value those as much as I kind of put myself out to say I do. Like Nick. What's going on, Nick? You feeling good? I'm talking about personal relationship building, like, because I was in the military lifestyle, like my dad's military. Let me rephrase that.
You're a military brat.
Yeah, because my dad was in the military, I moved around a lot, and I got good at, surface level connection. But now, because of that, I wasn't so good at the continuation of letting people know they mattered to me, even when I had, best friends. Yeah. I didn't know if I actually mattered or if I just didn't, and didn't matter. And, it's one of those things where I was so full of self-doubt that I felt like I didn't give those people the actual relationship they deserved out of me. And I didn't I used a word before that I already forgot, but it's the closeness you feel with those people. It's not about the time
affinity.
It's the time. It's the quality time, not the quantity of time.
Yeah.
You guys, rewind like 30 seconds and find the word I'm looking for. But it's just, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long you've known someone, as long as vulnerability. That's what it is. It's the vulnerability of the relationships, not the time spent. Because I I feel like we just had that. We both knew we were so weird almost immediately that we were like, "There's no way it's not going to work because we're both just fucking weirdos."
Yeah, let's be weird together.
Yeah, so we just decided to be fucking weirdos.
Yeah, it was a pretty immediate click. It's like, yeah, dude, this dude's fucking weird. He'd be fun to be weird with. And yeah, like anytime we toss ideas out at each other, like, fuck yeah, let's do it. Let's just
even if they're terrible ideas,
like,
or
let's
if
see
they're
what happens.
Yeah, it's just like we're both fine with being like, maybe this is vaguely racist, and be like, yeah, let's not do that on stage. Something.
Yeah,
I've definitely had a few of those.
Yeah, we do have the limits. We'll still throw it out there. Like, could we get away with this? Like, yeah, probably not. Let's do something not so out there. But yeah, I kind of get where you're coming from. Like growing up, I grew up in Carson and kind of lived there since I was 8. So like I had like close friends and everything like that. But since then, I've moved just like a couple thousand miles away every 4 or 5 years. Like from Carson City, I went to college in South Dakota. Then I went over to Japan, then over to Canada. Then I came back down here. So like in the past decade or so, at least, like I haven't gotten very close to people. Like I've made a lot of friends and a lot of connections and everything like that. Met a lot of people that I really truly love, but I haven't felt comfortable giving myself over to them entirely. Like I still have that block up, and there's kind of this weird thing that I discovered through going to therapy. It's like I don't want people to get too close to me because I think that once they actually get to know me, they'll start to dislike me or maybe even hate me.
Yeah, they'll reject the true you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
so
I get that.
I try to just kind of keep everything... Well, I used to be a lot better at it, just keeping everything light and fun and everything
Surface
like
level.
that. Yeah, and but in the past few years, I've just kind of, haven't had the energy or really the desire to do that. So I just kind of, I don't know, I've just been kind of a grumpy asshole the past few years at least. I used to be much more like fun-loving, happy-go-lucky, Chris Farley sort of fun.
Back when you had all the vitamins in you.
Yeah. Well, no, like even like the whole depression thing's been going on for a while.
Right.
And I think the vitamin deficiency has been going on for a while. I honestly have no idea exactly how long it's been going on.
They've spiraled together.
It's just kind of like they exacerbate each other. And no, I just used to be more willing to mask it and put on a good vibe and a good face for everybody.
Right.
And the past few years, I'm like, fuck it, I don't care anymore. Like, I'm just going to do whatever the fuck. And if they don't like me, they don't like me. And just kind of being a grumpy asshole. And, like now I do have more energy and everything again, and my head's clear and I'm not feeling depressed and shitty anymore. So I'm trying to get back out there and connect with people, but I've noticed that I've also kind of still been doing like the surface level shit. Like I don't really want to let people in too much. Like even my family and everything. It's like nobody really knows me 100% or even 90%.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people like maybe 50, 60%, because I kind of spread myself into different groups and everything. They all get little bits of me, but nobody really knows the whole amalgamation, the whole me. And I've been trying to open up with people a little bit more, but it's fucking terrifying. Like I don't want people to know too much about me, because I do just throughout the day just think these weirdo thoughts, and like coworker was asked me like, oh, what are you thinking about right now? Are you working on anything? I see you writing. Like, I'm not gonna tell you.
Yep.
Like if it's really, if it's really broad, then yeah. I think it'll appeal to a lot of people. Like, all right, I'll let you in on this. Like I did the Buddha rocking everywhere. a couple of coworkers. I got one of them to cry from laughing at it.
Beautiful.
And like, that felt pretty good. But for the most part, like, no, you will not enjoy this at all. Like, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to break through that and just feel good opening up to people, because I know that I'm a weird guy and I've accepted that. But I also don't want to weird people out and kind of make them feel uncomfortable. Right. Like if they're down with the weirdness, then fine. Like I've met a couple of people that have, we've been, cool being weird together. But for the most part, it's just kind of Like, it's easier to just keep it in.
It's that rejection, that fear of if you put a vulnerable part of yourself out there, and it's not even a full, like, that's dumb rejection, but if they just seem like bored or if they're just not into it, you're like, fucking ow, you know? Like, and it's that fear of getting that rejection that really kind of cages us all off. And that's one thing that I've realized I'm bad at, is having that rejection. So I try to put out this, like, too positive. I try to do too many things for people, and I just try to get out there and be, you know, that beacon of shininess so that no one can say anything bad about me, that way I never feel rejected. But that fed into my social media addiction, to just think like, here is something, literally anything, give me validation.
Yeah.
And that's what is, you know, that's the perfect storm of bullshit that I've been fucking things up with, is just thinking that social media validation is more important than
actual connections.
Yeah, actual connections.
Real life people.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, it's a lot easier to have the facade and someone reject that. Like, well, that's not really me anyway. That's just something I'm
It's just a cartoon character.
But if you actually let people know who you are and they reject you at that point, that is personal and painful. Like, they reject who I am as a person. And that's just, it fucking sucks, man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I'm fine with people not liking my comedy. I'm not as fine with people not liking my music. Because my music is the most personal, and then the comedy is like the fun bullshit I toss out there when I'm like bored and in a bar. So it's just like, if someone likes my comedy more, I'm like, ew, why? I don't even like my comedy. So like, it's so crazy. It's so crazy to have that dichotomy creatively. But yeah, so I don't know. Personal connection is important, and it took me too long to realize it. And I think that I got on this whole train of thought after talking about that girl playing with my hand in Laos.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I didn't realize I could receive affection. I didn't realize how good it felt, and so now I know I need personal connection and real validation from people, not stupid social media validation, but for someone to see me as I am, whole, for all my bumps and bruises and all the scrapes and scars, and to be like, hey, I don't even like all of it, but I like you totally, and so that would feel nice.
Yeah.
And to have that, you know?
Yeah, to see someone who also sees your bad side and they still like who you are, like they still want to be around you.
Yeah.
There's something special in that. There's something nice in it.
There is. Someone who can call you out on the bullshit too.
Yeah.
Because that's one of those things, like, you don't have to agree with your friends or the people you're with all the time. You don't have to always be in a positive state. Just, you know, so, like, again, surface level fun things. You don't have to always be in agreement with them. You got to be able to call your friends and people you care about out on their bullshit. You know, like, if you can't, they're never going to get better as a person.
Yeah.
And then your relationship will never improve because you'll always hold that resentment over that person. And you can't hold resentments over people they don't know about, because then you'll just end up not talking to them, and it'll be worse that they don't know why you fucking aren't there anymore. And so it's one of those things where, hey, call your friends out on their bullshit so that, you know, that way they know, oh, this person doesn't like when I do this. The end. You know, then it's solved.
Yeah. You got to want to help the people that you care about and, you know, make them better people so, you know, you can have a better relationship with them. It's not all just going to be fun and happiness.
Yeah.
And it kind of sucks being around those people who they just want everything to be upbeat and positive and happy and good times all the time.
Toxic positivity.
Yeah. You're like, no, things are shitty sometimes, and I need people to be with me through the shitty times as well. Like, you can't just be there for the fun times and then just skip out when things get a little rough. You're like, you need people in your life who are going to be there for your whole life, not just, you know, the easy bits.
Yep.
Which is what I call my penis.
You call your penis the easy bits?
Easy bits.
Good.
And I need people to be there for my easy bits.
Guys, that's my campaign for the day. Nick Josten needs someone to be there for his easy bits. Get on down to Nick Josten's town. Get in on them easy bits. he's going to have some Wednesdays just ready for you.
Yeah, some Wednesdays free coming up, starting in August. My last open mic that I'm supposed to host is July 31st, but the Cordillera International Film Festival wrap party is that same night.
Gonna get a fill-in for your last day?
I might.
I mean, fuck it. You're already on the way out. It's like when you quit your job.
Like,
It's like you give 2 weeks notice, but then you're like, well, I do have 2 weeks of PTO saved up.
might as well.
So you just take all those days. Like, what? You're gonna lose the free days? No. Yeah, I get that.
So I might just have Nick Taro take over a week early.
Fuck it.
Yeah. So tomorrow night might be my last night.
All right, guys.
Because I already had Nick Taro scheduled to host next week.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna do him, me, and then he just takes over. But I'm just
Call it tomorrow. Like, you know what, guys? This podcast is coming out tonight. So come out for Nick Josten's last night at the library.
might be my last night. Honestly, I would feel kind of bad if I skipped out on the very last night.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm just kind of over it.
Yeah, I mean, there is that part of you that's like, oh, I want the ritual and the big send off, but also it's just like it's not going to happen anyway.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't want the big send off.
No, it's like what? It's been a year. Like, congratulations, you made it through 1 year of a commitment,
barely
for 1 week at a bar.
Yeah,
barely,
I made it through out of obligation.
Yeah, and you
because my Catholic guilt took over and made me do this.
You only had to fill in like a dozen or so times over the year. Because I filled in twice, I think. At least once. I'm mixing together possibly the other open mic.
No, I think for the most part I did them all. I think there was like the just 2 weeks that I was down in Vegas and LA.
Yeah.
So I think I had you and
Sarah,
maybe. Might have been Sarah.
Yeah.
Or somebody. Then
Austin?
I might have had. I think I had Aubrey fill in another.
Right,
time.
Aubrey did it.
Yeah.
That's right.
'Cause I was gonna have Austin do it, but then I felt
a lady.
Yeah, I wanted to spread it out a little bit to get some diversity in there. I feel kind of bad not having Austin do it, but
that's what he gets for having his own open mic.
Yeah,
Fuck you, Austin.
Fuck you, Austin. You fucking elbow room.
Let's see. I was just trying to cover everything that was important that we talked about on the last episode, but not so mired down in the negativity of the situation.
Yeah.
Because now I don't feel that negativity, and it's nice. So I just wanted to I still want to be forward with everyone that hey, this podcast means something to me to put out a snapshot of how I'm feeling, but sometimes I'm feeling the wrong thing because I am frequently wrong. frequently and loudly. And so I need to start reeling in that like bullshit public persona that I put out online and like actually work on myself, learn how to give myself personal time to just like say fuck it and watch Letterkenny or play some video games, rather than thinking I constantly need to be in a state of fake polishing. I need to actually give myself rest times and give myself growth times, Connect with people meaningfully, not just out of desperation that you're not getting validation right now. And I feel like that's what a lot of this week has been, is me going from needing a place of comfort to then instead unhealthily creating a reality TV show situation out of my whole personal life, which is bullshit to put people through. Because, again, what would you rather hear? Nothing or a room full of people talking about you? You're going to want that. You're going to want that room because we all have that little thing in ourselves that goes, the fuck's happening in here? So putting everyone in my personal sphere through the reality TV show situation, it makes them crave it as much as I want to give it. And that's bad. It's bad to put that much emphasis on a negative situation. So don't do that, guys. I know that's not social media, but sometimes things don't need to be out there. If you need support for a thing, sure. If you're just kind of saying stuff to say stuff, not healthy. Not healthy. Can create a lot of drama, a lot of unnecessary hurt feelings especially if you're talking about somebody, because there's a lot of bullshit in the world, and a lot of people think a lot of things, and you can't control what other people think. So if you're putting things out into the world, they're going to think a thing, and it's your fault for putting it out there. So that's how it goes. Speaking of putting things out there, I painted myself green.
Yeah, you did.
Painted myself green.
Pretty much everywhere.
For the superhero crawl, pretty much. There was a point where I was at the library, and I was like, I'm going to paint a little lower.
How low did you go?
I'm pretty low.
Were your easy bits green?
No. I stayed away from that.
Okay.
I definitely had a little... I went like half ass down. Like literally halfway down the ass.
Why just halfway? Just like if we got to that point, why not just like do your entire back?
Well, I didn't want to take like my pants off in the library bathroom and just start greening everything up.
They have a stall.
That's what I was in.
Yeah.
But I also... Thor was in there peeing too. I didn't want to do that in front of him. But it was one of those things where I was like, if anybody asks, I can be able to show them a little bit and be like, I'm green everywhere, motherfucker. It never happened. No one ever asked. So I was just green from the waist down for no reason. Again, I do a lot of dumb, unnecessary bullshit in anticipation of a moment. And sometimes the anticipation is hilarious. In retrospect, sometimes the anticipation is unhealthy. I will say in this moment, it was both hilarious and unhealthy to think maybe someone's going to ask if my ass is green, and I want to show them it is.
It would have been so worth it, though. Somebody did ask you that.
God damn.
Oh, Justin, even just doing it just because is still hooking hilarious.
Yeah, it's still that's another one of those
Somebody
things.
actually asked it, though.
It would have been so good.
Yeah,
it would have been so good.
It would have been great.
I just had a full green ass. But yeah, I didn't because it would have been dumb. But I painted myself like Professor Hulk for the superhero crawl. And just went around taking pictures. I took pictures of kids that were just in the street.
Yeah, just like random moms were like, hey,
take a picture. Hulk. Yeah, and I was like, all right, cool.
There was one kid who didn't seem to really know what was going on.
Nope.
Just kind of like...
One dude called me Shrek.
Yeah. There are a lot of people who are like, oh, what's Frankenstein doing walking around? I'm like, yeah, for the superhero crawl. The great superhero, Frankenstein. You fucking idiots.
Mary Shelley was in the Marvel Universe. That's what it is. Yeah, so I did the superhero crawl. It was great because there was a costume contest that I didn't win, but it's fine.
And they got to see drag queens throw a cold taco into it.
Yeah, okay, so it was hosted by the drag queens at Faces, and I did the meme. I did the Professor Hulk meme where he gives Ant-Man the taco. I pulled a cold Taco Bell taco out of my pocket and offered it to the audience with that face of like, and somebody took it, but then they left it on the stage, and the drag queens got mad. They're like, who left their taco here? And so they just threw it out into the audience, and somebody just swatted it onto the ground.
And then they started eating it.
They started eating it off the floor. But then the craziest part, they were eating the taco off the floor, and then they started rolling in it. They were rolling in it, and the reason the drag queens were mad is they were like, it's going to make a mess. Someone clean it up. And this guy went down to eat it. Everyone's cheering for him. He starts rolling in it, and then he just pieces the fuck out without cleaning it up. There was still half a smushed up taco on the ground, and he just left. I think that's why I didn't win. I didn't win.
Everyone was mad about the taco
That and the Beast Boy was on point. But yeah, so that was
I wonder who won the whole thing.
I don't know. I don't really
Probably
care. It was
Beast
fucking
Boy or
2
Thor.
a.m.
Yeah.
It was 2 a.m. and I didn't want to be up anymore.
Yeah.
I did a sober bar crawl because, again, I told you I need to stop drinking so much. And that was part of it. Not drinking. I still went to a bar crawl because I painted myself green. We also did improv. We did improv that day.
Yeah.
Because it was like 6 o'clock. I was mostly green, and Nick was like, I'm going to go to improv. And I was like, can I come?
Fuck yeah, you can.
And so I finished painting myself green. Fucking went to improv. It was so stupid.
Yeah, it was fun.
Oh boy. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna do more crawls in ridiculous outfits. I like the crawls. I really like. I just now that I'm more comfortable with myself as a person, I want to get out and do more stuff. You know.
Yeah.
And I want to do more of those crawls. I want to do more karaoke. Man, Friday that last Friday night when I was out doing karaoke, they were all fucking chanting my name whenever I got on the stage. I was like, oh, this is dope. I found out from one of my coworkers who was there for a birthday, half those people were on Molly, but you know what? They were into it, and that's all that matters to me. I don't care what kind of drugs they were on.
Still gave him a good time.
Yeah, and I was singing my little heart out. So hey, that's my schedule, guys. Every Friday, come watch me do karaoke at the library. Yeah, doing stuff.
Yeah,
getting out there in the world.
Yeah, that one guy at the superhero crawl who saw you sing as the Hulk.
Yeah,
at 2nd Street.
Yeah,
saw you later the night and like shook your hand and everything.
I almost forgot that I did karaoke as the Hulk.
Yeah,
we went to West 2nd and I sang Cher's Believe as the Hulk to the dead Black Widow. I tossed it in there a few times. I was like, "Oh, Black Widow, I miss you so much." I don't know why I turned into Will Ferrell there. I'm in a glass box of emotion. Milk was a bad choice. Dumb. Yeah, so it's been a journey this year. This is my check-in for the year. It'd just be like, yeah, you know what? Almost died coming back from Humboldt. Went to Laos and realized I like affection. I went through a relationship, receiving that affection, which I'm not going to touch on. It's in other podcasts, but So now I feel, as a whole person, I'm worth something, and I want to work more on fostering that worth so that I can feel day to day, not only that I feel all right as a person, but that I know that I'm good. I want to strengthen that bond with me, because I already sang the Michael Jackson song. I'm not going to do it again. Yeah. Healthy things.
Making changes.
Changes. So, hey, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm fucking tired a little bit,
Yeah, it's getting late.
Yeah, I got too much sleep last night. I actually need to stay up a little later today because I got like 8.5 hours of sleep, and I've been used to like 7 tops. So,
did you do one of those things where you have so much sleep you're a little groggy? In the morning?
I didn't really wake up till like 10 a.m. today. I was too tired from getting too much sleep.
Did you go to work today?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
You have late in?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. That was good. Anyway, yeah, that's enough time. Hey, thanks for tuning in, guys. This has been the Petri Dish. Positivity.